Hey everyone, welcome to Watch It Paint It. In this video we're back looking at Speedpaint, the new up and coming range by the Army Painter to sort of, it's their look at contrast paints, that sort of thing. Now guys, if it's not obvious, these were sent free of charge because this paint is not out yet. They are a review copy, so bear that in mind as I do any examination of these over the next few months. I won't have paid for any of them. Having said that, there is literally only these three colours. I don't have a big range. It's not like I've benefited greatly from it. In fact, I'm struggling to test this with three very similar. They're all dark, aren't they? There's only so much I'm going to be able to do. Having said that, let's look at doing metallics with these. I don't know how well this is going to work because we've got grey. That should come out quite silvery. We've got dark wood. What's that going to look like? Predictions below before we get there. Maybe like a bronze, maybe like crappy dark wood with silver. And then we've got this cloudburst blue, which might look like sort of steel. If you didn't see my previous video where I looked at this, it's quite exciting, or it certainly was at the time, that you apply these contrast paints. Should I stop saying contrast? We all know what contrast is. Speed paint. But we apply these over a matte white primer, no special primer required. Now, if you watch the channel religiously, as hopefully all of you do, you will see that I always stick to the instructions and follow reference material artwork. My paint jobs always look like the art. Now, one little known fact, guys, is I'm actually a bit of a bad boy. Dun dun dun. Now obviously I've kept that on the down low over these years because we didn't want the channel filling up with too many female subscribers only after one thing. With that out of the way though, let's go and break some rules. So yeah, screw the matte white primer. We are going to use Army Painter's Colour Primer Plate Mail Metal. It's their silver primer and we're going to bust that out, and I've been building some Necrons. I don't know how well these would take contrast paints, but they took the primer fine, so we've got nice silver looking Necrons to begin with, and we are also going to get one of the contrast paints because I want some reference material. So if you guys haven't seen the videos on the channel before, let me just grab one. I've switched to painting gold. This is my Stormcast Eternal. I started painting gold using silver primer and a Yandon yellow, and I like how it comes out. I really enjoyed it. This is pretty much my #1 way of painting gold at the moment. It's what I opt to do. So we'll paint one of them in Yandon yellow so we can get a look and feel for the baseline, let's call it, because I don't know how well these miniatures will take, you know, contrast paints full stop. Maybe they're just too flat, and we'll see. If this one looks rubbish, it's not a fair test, is it? We'll have to go and find some different metallic miniatures, but that's what we'll do. We'll do one in blue. We'll make this one dance. We'll do one in the grey, and we will do one in the brown, and I'll just do sort of one medium to thick coat over them all, and we'll just examine how they look at the end. So we'll start with a control Necron, and this is just taking Yandon yellow. I've mentioned in the previous video that I like the pots. Obviously I've got my wash wizard so I don't knock this over, because that is why we don't like the pots, right? But I do like it in the contrast. I can just keep going back as much as I want and getting the exact amount that I need. As I mentioned just before, let's go for a medium to large, one quick wash. I'm just going to cover the whole miniature. Not going to worry about any sort of detailing on this. We're just going to just see what it looks like raw. So that's the yellow / gold taken care of. It's a fairly even coat. I'm happy with that. Obviously it's nowhere near dry yet, and hopefully this is going to start pulling, working its magic, and we'll see how that is. Like I said, that's going to be the control specimen. Next up, let's try this cloudburst blue out. So obligatory moan about it being in a dropper bottle, which normally, you know, I think it's fine, but you can see I've actually left a load of paint on my palette, so you can see how frugal I normally am with the amount of paint that I get out of these Army paint bottles. There's a reason I'm still using my original 6-year-old war paints, you know, not even close to running out of them. So it grinds a bit against me with it being in a dropper bottle for the contrast, because I've just got to guess how much I need, and you don't want to be going back and forth and getting some because it's going to start drying on the miniature, potentially more streaky, that sort of thing. But yeah, we'll just apply this again all over this Necron, and I'm going to guess now it's going to dry as a sort of steely blue. Leave a comment below now if you want to guess the colours they're going to come out as. Otherwise, let's just find out together. So it's not dry yet. I've just finished painting that up, and I'm loving how it's looking. Look at that. That's pretty intense. Obviously, we're going to need to see when it's dry. I don't know if you noticed while I was painting it, it looks like it goes on quite light. It pulls away so hard. It was really pulling off the surfaces, the flat surfaces. It felt that way anyway. Obviously, I need to do a flat surface test, but it felt like it was pulling away quick and hard. I actually put it on thicker on the legs, and I think it stayed on there a bit. So we'll have to bear that in mind. This was my quick medium to well, I think it was a medium amount, but it seems quite thin now, and it went quite thick and heavy on the bottom. So let's remember that when we get to the end. Let's try out this Grave Lord Grey next. So same deal, get a load out. Let's try and get enough that we don't need to refill. And predictions, guys, I'm going to go with, this is going to look like silver, like hopefully like a darkish silver, a shaded silver, a highlighted and shaded silver. We'll see. I still, guys, there's not that much information about these paints yet, and I still don't know if Grave Lord, I don't know if I can even ever say it correctly, but I don't know if this is supposed to be black or a dark grey, because it looks black. So once again, let's have a look at it before it's dry. So this is still drying. We all know contrast paints, speed paints take a little bit of time to dry, and they keep working their magic after you're done. One thing I noticed is this didn't seem the same. It felt the same thickness, but it sort of felt like it sat a bit more on the flatter areas, didn't pull away as much, and is just really, really dark. But give it time, give it time. It was actually my favourite of the colours on the walls that I painted in the first video. So let's see if it's my favourite on the metallics by the end. Last but not least, we have this dark wood. Again, predictions, guys. I'm going to go with, at best, this can look like a copper, maybe a bronze. If I water it down, if I thinned it, which could be a video in its own right, let me know below if you would like to see that sort of experiment. And there we go. Let's have a quick look while it is still wet again. Wow. I think this is subverted. It's changed my expectations. I think it surprised me. It looks quite cool. It's not bronze and it's not copper, but it's maybe like weathered bronze? Could it be weathered bronze? It certainly looks aged, doesn't it? Some sort of aging's taking place here, but it's still, look at the shine there. Obviously, let's go and let this dry, because that could just be its wetness shining, but I think that's the metallic primer coming through. For the next step, guys, grab yourselves a beer and sit back and wait for this to all dry. I guess if you don't drink beer, get yourself a shot glass and have a little shot of speed paint. Right, I think we are about done. Should we start with the control? So this is the gold, which is normally one of my favourite ways of painting gold. Now, I think it looks okay. Obviously, this is just a quick dib-dab with contrast, so it's only going to look so good. Normally, I'm looking at a miniature at the end when it's completely finished. I think that does look like gold, doesn't it? It's come out well, so that's just our control. So let's start having a look how well the other colours did. So this is that cloud burst blue, and guys, I'm a fan. What do you think? It looks exactly like the contrast to me. It's a nice colour, but that's semi-irrelevant. The gun is definitely, I mentioned this as I was painting it, it went on lighter here. It just pulled away from the highlight straight away, and it just went really sort of pale, and you can see the shine on the gun is so much more intense than the rest. So I don't know, you can apply it thinner, you're going to get a slightly different look. Look, it's even edge highlighted on the back here for us, so it's pulled away really hard from that hard edge. It's looking, I'm a fan. I'm not quite sure what colour that is, but it is just like a bluey, dark blue steel, isn't it? I think that's come out well. It's definitely still metallic underneath. It was a very, very fast paint job. So that, well, I mean, they were all equally fast, weren't they? But we've got the Grave, this is the hardest one to say, but we've got the Grave Lord Grey here. It's a lot darker than I actually thought it was going to be. It's almost like maybe, well, it's not like a null oil, is it? Because look, it's darkened down the flatter panels too. And they do look now like a dark metallic. Now, it's darker than I thought, but I think I'm a fan. I think I like that. Look, it's so metallic. You can really see it shining in the light. It's definitely kept the metallic properties. It's edge highlighted in places for us. Look around these balls here. It's just pulled it right off of that hard surface, that hard edge, and really popped out the highlight. It does look like it's going to sit on flat places, just like contrast would. The thighs are a good example. A little bit of blotchy pooling, isn't there? It's not perfect, but just look how I was applying it. It was just slapping it on. There was air bubbles generating. It's just not how I would normally paint it. I was just going as fast and hard. So maybe we need to look at how to apply the paint and be more careful and making sure it doesn't pool on any of the flat surfaces. Maybe I could fix this. This is not bad though. I really think that's okay. I mean, I'm looking through the lens, so don't judge me if I'm missing some really obvious bad bits, but that's not bad at all. And then we've finally got the dark wood, the black sheep of the colours, and that's also fine. I almost think that's kind of like that rough iron sort of colour, but it's better. I dislike rough iron. If you watch the channel, I very, 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 very rarely use that metallic, despite always using metallics. It's just not one I like. It's just too dark. This is maybe a bit better. Again, it's kept all the metallic properties as far as I can see. We've got a little bit of edge highlighting. It doesn't look like it's pulled hard off of this one, does it? Nothing's quite silver anymore, but it's still metallic, still got a metallic-y, shiny look to it, and a very interesting colour. I mean, I might honestly use that. That is not that bad. That is much better than I thought it was going to be. So all three of these colours for me have worked, and I'm sold on metallics. You know, this test, I think this is a success. Let me know in the comments below, what do you think, guys? Do you think that was a success for you? To me, it's at the minimum the same as applying contrast paint. So I think the speed paint's done the bare minimum there, and potentially this is better. I think that was a success. I'm happy with that. Let us know what you think in the comments below. And are you a fan of painting contrast and or now speed paint on top of metallics? Because I really am. I think these are some of the best looking Necrons I've done so far, and they took a couple of minutes to do this base coat. And now if I just go away and add a few details, these are going to look fan-freaking-tastic. Better than my previous speed paints, I think, which were fast in their own right, but this was definitely faster, and I'm a fan of the outcome. Thank you all ever so much for watching, guys. If you're interested in seeing some more speed paint tests, let us know what you'd like to see in the comments below, and hit that subscribe button. Come back and chat to us every day that we do one of these tests. This video, I am back. We are back. We are here. Start again. I did feel like it was I feel like my hand's wobbling a lot. Look at that twitch. Well, it's not dry yet. My hand's twitching so bad. Please stop.